Alright guys, welcome back to another 5 Metas Every Pro Should Know video. Episode number 32. We're covering Germany today, which should be a lot of fun. I know there's a lot of German players in the GeoGuessr community, of course. Probably the biggest country in GeoGuessr players percentage in Europe, I guess them or France. Probably. Yeah, both the percentages of players is quite high there. But yes, I think Germany is a pretty cool country. It's very hard to region guess in, especially for me. Sometimes I just end up clicking label if it just ends up being hilly. So hopefully I can provide you guys with a couple of metas that can be helpful for region guessing in the country and potentially help you improve your geoguessing in such a large country like Germany. Alright guys, the first meta and probably least valuable meta in this video that we're going to talk about is the Regensburg Ridge. So this is obviously a landscape thing, which I love teaching, but Germany doesn't have too many like landscape agricultural clues, or at least not yet. That's been solved by the community. So the Regensburg Ridge is something that, you know, is a pretty distinct one because, as you can see, right along the Danube here, near the town of Bach, you are just going to get a pretty consistent ridge-looking thing here. And yeah, you can just see that to the north. It's very flat in the front. This is probably the best view of it that we're going to get. Very flat, and then you just get this slight long ridge here. Kind of reminds me of something that you'll get in, like, I don't know, Hungary or something like that. But yes, very long ridge. This is a great view as well. Very long ridge along this highway. As you can see, very flat farmland, and then this ridge kind of just pops out of nowhere with nothing between it, or behind it rather. Just a standalone ridge. And here's a good view of it as well. You can kind of see it here. And you can't really make out the Danube there, but it does exist right below that mountain. So probably is maybe seeable from some angles, but yeah, the Regensburg Ridge is pretty good. Plus, you know, it is a very good region guess. And surprising your opponent is always nice if you're able to get that guess down and get a nice plunk in. So that's going to be meta number 1. All right, we're going to be starting off with a much more valuable meta here, I think, for German guessing standards. And this is going to be guardrail type. So in different German regions, they use majority different types of guardrails, or they use pretty much all of the same guardrail. So as you can see here, we have A type, B type, majority A, some B, majority B, some A, and then a mix of A and B. And we'll take a look at the map real quick right here. A type is pretty much only found in this area north by Denmark, and then, you know, the Hamburg region. This little pocket here, and then this area, while not this border area near, I think that's near Luxembourg, right on the border there. But yeah, here's a couple examples of what I mean by A-type guardrail for those of you guys that don't know. A-type guardrail is when it's basically an open space in between the top and the bottom part of the guardrail. The B-type guardrail is going to be like a completely flat face like this, but the A-type has a little divot inside. So this is an A-type guardrail, and you'll get this in Bremen as well, on highways, as you can see here. The area surrounding it, of course, is, I believe, mostly A, but there is some B as well. But yeah, Hamburg, and then, you know, this northern area here, you do get a lot of A-type guardrail, which is interesting because Denmark uses a lot of B-type guardrail. So I'm not sure if this was determined by the region whoever runs the region, whoever makes the decisions on the transportation stuff, but yeah, mostly A-type guardrail here. And shout out to people who did the research for this, because it is quite crazy. B-type guardrail is probably more significantly used in Germany, but obviously we do get the A-type. So the B-type is going to be all these dark red regions here. So most of Eastern Germany uses it. We have a little bit in the southwest. Bavaria mostly uses it. This area near Luxembourg, and then this area here. So yeah, if we take a look at B-type guardrail, this is what I mean. The flat guardrail, as you can see here, there is no divot in the middle, basically. Similar to guardrail that, basically the same guardrail, actually, I retract, that you can get in Poland, Denmark, Serbia as well, and a couple of other countries. Those are the main ones, though. B-type guardrail here. I mean, this location is not easy. Could be Poland, but you obviously have that German bollard there. Anyway, yeah, just a couple of B-type examples in each region that uses it, and probably not as valuable for me to go through all of them, but you guys kind of understand what a B-type guardrail is now. All right, this is majority A and sometimes B, and this is going to be that entire area around Bremen here. So yeah, we do have that A-type guardrail. I couldn't find a B-type example, which is kind of crazy. So I would probably say that this area is probably like 95, 99 even % A, because like I clicked through a lot of stuff, especially on highways and stuff like that. I couldn't find a B-type guardrail to save my life. So if you guys can, let me know. And then we got majority B, sometimes A. So this is that NRW region, and then most of Bavaria usually does have that. And yeah, we do have a B-type guardrail and a B-type guardrail here. I would say generally, you can generally consider the light colors to pretty much, you know, just include that in B-type or include this one in A-type, because the opposite guardrail is not as common at all. All right, and then we got a mix of A and B here. Allegedly, this region here, which I think is like this area around Osnabrück, apparently has both, and they use a mixture of both. But I couldn't find anything besides A, so yeah, there's that. So I would consider that one to be A, and then like this area, south of Hanover, you get a mixture of both. You get the A-type here, and then you get the B-type here. So, I mean, both exist, and then this area around Austria as well. Austria uses the A-type guardrail, so I guess it makes more sense that this southeastern area of Bavaria is going to have a mixture of both, but you do have the A-type guardrail here, and then the B-type guardrail here. So, definitely a mix of both, and it's good to know which can have a mix of both as well. And you can use this JSON to help you out with guessing there. All right, the next Germany meta that we're going to be talking about is the electric car. So this is the Gen 4 car that you can see. I think it was implemented in a couple of different countries. I think the main one that comes to mind is Ireland. So if we take a look in Dublin real quick, if I just click on a random road, I'm sure it'll exist. But yeah, this back of the car here, the silver one, that kind of has, I don't know, different feel than most of the other things. And you can see the entire back of the car, which is quite rare in almost all European countries, because you'll pretty much only see where that antenna is, usually in Gen 4. Or see no car at all, which is also possible. But yeah, that electric car has made its way into Germany, and we have one in Hamburg and around the area of Frankfurt, not necessarily in downtown. Most of the highways around Frankfurt are going to be using this car, but not in downtown. So if you see, like, you're on a highway like this, and you see the e-car in Germany, you should always guess around Frankfurt, because the Hamburg coverage with the e-car is only inside the city of Hamburg. So the only, like, quote-unquote rural coverage that you're going to get with this e-car in Germany is going to be around the city of Frankfurt. And I did notice it is pretty much only north of it. I tried to look a little bit more south around the city and, like, to the west and stuff, but I couldn't find anything. So it is going to be mostly north. Like, this is quite a rural location, I would say. Well, I mean, there's a lot of cars on the road, but like no houses in sight. But you do have this car, which should indicate to you to guess north of Frankfurt. And it is a really good meta in that case. And then we'll show the locations in Hamburg as well, because why not? Just pretty much covers most of the city. You will get the occasional, let's see if I can find a location with a different type of car. They do have just the typical blue car, I think, on some parts of it. Okay, I'm struggling to find one. Okay, this is Gen 3. When I was clicking around earlier, I swear we had some blue car. Maybe I go on the highway here? Oh, okay. Well, you're gonna have to take my word for it and maybe click around Hamburg yourself. Because I, for some reason, can't find anything besides the e-car now that I'm clicking around, which is crazy. All right, well, E-cart galore in Hamburg, and if you have very urban coverage like this with this car and you know you're in Germany, then you should just click Hamburg because it's going to be the only city with this e-car. All right, next we're going to talk about a few architecture metas in Germany. So we'll start off with brick houses. I think this is pretty common knowledge already, but I figured I would cover it if I'm doing an architecture section for meta number 4. And brick houses are pretty much going to be found, obviously influenced by Netherlands stuff and Danish stuff. You will get a lot of brick houses towards the north part of the country, especially like this. Just pretty much all made of brick. Houses like this, very similar to Danish style houses, kind of reminds me of in like maybe some UK houses will look like this, but maybe not as much like usage of brick. But yes, you'll pretty much get this all in the northern part of the country. So usually when you see brick, the general rule is to click towards that northern half above the Germany label, basically, because that's pretty much the only places that you're going to really get it. And you won't get like these brick house styles towards the south here, especially as you move more towards the Alps. All right, another thing for the north is thatch roofs, and you're pretty much only going to find this on areas very close to Denmark, because you will get a lot of thatch roofs in Denmark as well. But yeah, a lot of these German islands will just contain these thatch roofs, which I think are actually pretty cool. Like, if you just look at them, kind of reminds me of like, I don't know, even New Zealand houses in a way. Like, this kind of reminds me of something you'd see in the Shire. But anyway, a lot of, especially on this island of Sylt, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, and then For here, I don't know. You'll see a lot of thatch roofed houses, and you can pretty safely go very close to the Danish border with these houses, because it is a pretty consistent meta, and you won't really get thatch roofs pretty much south of Hamburg, the south of the Hamburg line, I'd say. And yeah, you can pretty much only click north with thatch roofs in Germany. All right, another architecture thing that we're going to talk about is the East Germany commie blocks. So obviously when it was occupied by like Russia and the USSR and stuff like that, you know, they built a lot of these style of apartment buildings that are just like kind of like plain, very nihilistic architecture, I would say, in that it's just, I like how they beautified this in Berlin. But yeah, you'll get this in Magdeburg as well. And then, you know, this one is a great example in Halle. I would pronounce that. With just like a huge apartment building with kind of like no design, just big rectangles, essentially. You'll see this a lot in Eastern Germany, not as much in Western Germany, much more modern style architecture there. Not as many commie blocks. Or any commie blocks, in fact. So you should always guess Eastern Germany if you see the commie blocks. All right, and this meta is also good, I think, the black slate roofs and walls. So a lot of the black slate is going to be in this middle portion of the country, just because I guess the material for black slate was quite available in that middle part of the country. And by black slate, they kind of look like fish scales, I would say, in a way, on these roofs. So it's pretty much found in that middle band of the country. This is a great example where you can see how it kind of has that fish scale texture to it on the black roofs, or sorry, on the houses. And there's a lot of really cool cities with these kind of tiles, which I think is like probably one of the cooler architecture choices that I've seen in Germany with this black slate. But yeah, there's a couple of cities like that. This one's probably my favorite just because it's an entire row of houses with this in Lauscha, I guess. And you can even get it moving into NRW here with this black slate and the tiles on the houses. So yeah, if you see the black slate, I would definitely guess in this middle band part of Germany here, because it is pretty much only found there. All right, the last meta is something that we're going to talk about, obviously hops, which is found in Bavaria, just north of Munich here, south of Ingolstadt. So you will get a ton of hops farms in here. If you click on like most of the white roads that have coverage around here, you'll pretty much find a hop farm. And hops are grown pretty uniquely in a way. I didn't know that they were grown like this, where it's just like crawling along some kind of vine, stretching up towards the sky, which is kind of cool, honestly. And you'll see a ton of hops farms in this area of Bavaria. So if you see hops, it's probably a good idea to guess just this area as a general hedge, just because they're pretty much mainly found in this valley region here. All right, that's going to be episode number 32 in Germany, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and hopefully you guys learned a lot about the great country of Germany. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, of course, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys next Sunday for another 5 Metas Every Pro Should Know video. Peace.